Good morning, everyone. Microphone check, screen check. Looks like everything is working correctly here. Good, good. All right. I think that side's good. I had a little bit of an issue this morning with the VIP link, but I got that all updated. So if you were having issues this morning trying to log in on that side, that end is all taken care of and ready to rock again. Oops, let me get this over to the right place here. There we go. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hopefully everyone is able to rest up, get ready for the day ahead and all that fun stuff. Of course, before we jump on the right side of the screen there, make sure to read through the Live Trader Morning Prep PDF. Very important to go through and understand everything that is inside there. Hey, life around here. How's it going? Good to see you in the room, my friend. Just a quick note for you all before we jump on in today. As always, if you're watching on the YouTube side of things, there does tend to be a little bit of a delay, and that can sometimes impact the timeliness of what I may be talking about at any given moment. And then, of course, along with that line of thought, I also wanted to take a second to, like we do every day. I've got my other screen's blowing up on me. If I sound distracted, I am. Hold on. All right, there we go. Just want to take a second, like we do every day, to thank all of our new members, subscribers, Academy students, VIPs, and everyone in between. Welcome to the SSFTG fam. I'm super excited to have you all on board. If you aren't part of the fam yet, there's a ton of different ways to join up. The easiest way is to join as a YouTube member with the join button below the stream. It gets you in the chat room on Discord, the YouTube community board, stock and crypto chart posts, and a bit more behind the scenes in what's going on. Of course, if you want to understand how we do everything, then check out the Day Trading Academy and VIP memberships and all of that stuff, all waiting for you over at ssftg.com if you need more info over there. So if you're here for the first time, or the 1000th, good morning, welcome. I hope you're all ready to rock and roll alongside of me today, wrapping up the week on a Friday. The overall momentum's been a pretty wild week, and it hasn't been an easy week, that's for sure. The beginning of the week felt like it was just a sucker punch to the face. It's like everything could go wrong, went wrong, had to reinstall Ninja this week. I'm ready for it to be Friday, that's for sure. But let's rock and roll in, see what kind of charts we can see what news is going on and all that fun stuff. And then we can wrap it up. Don't forget to grab your morning DP levels. Those are posted for you every single morning on the major 7 markets that we trade. Nasdaq, S&P, Gold, Crude, Euro, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. Ethereum need a little bit more time, right? Bitcoin's doing fine. They're all ready to rock and roll for you. They made it through the entire week with our running shoes on. Not too bad. As far as the news calendar is concerned, there's nothing really to worry about. I mean, there's a ton of news. The news calendar looks really, really opposing. But honestly, all of it's medium and small news announcements. There's not a single large one today. So that said, with a Friday, not really any major news. With the medium news announcements, we have some that happen at 9:45, the Chicago PMI. At 10 o'clock would be the next one after that. And then we start going into the afternoon stuff, which really doesn't make a huge difference, all things considered. So. All right, 2 seconds. There is the Crypto.com NFT drop. I want to see what that's all about. Power of the Dark. They're really cool looking. How much they want for these? 500? Bruh. What? Oh, there's only one. And it's a bid? There's no buy it now. Oh, and this one's sold out. Okay, I gotcha. All right, well, I guess I missed that one. That just dropped 4 minutes ago, but too slow. Who would have thought? Anyway. Gotta be a little bit faster here. Looking at the, let's take a look at some charts, take a look at all that fun stuff, see what's going on from there, and then we can, and then we'll rock and roll. Apparently I missed the NFT drop this morning. C'est la vie. Looking at the charts this morning, starting off on the Nasdaq and seeing what's going on. The market's still climbing its way higher. It hasn't stopped going higher. And really, the way that this momentum is driving higher, you know, one of the big things that we've kind of had to do is go out to a larger time frame, like a 60-minute, just to see, you know, like where is this thing? What's happening? You know, why does this feel so persistently bullish? And one of the obvious questions or reasons or answers to that question would be that this is likely the third wave of a 5-wave impulse. Now, that does mean that we're still waiting for a pullback, but as long as that pullback doesn't break into the 15,000s, then we're okay. So the upside momentum for the bulls to try to get things going, that's kind of where they're landing right now. Got to see if they can follow through a little bit more, but you know, as it stands, where it is right now, we've got, I mean, the bulls are still in charge, and realistically, noting that this is possibly a third wave in a 5-wave structure, we've got a lot more up to go. I mean, we could start breaching into the 16,000s. We're at all-time highs already. I mean, geez, this thing could go absolutely crazy. We've been talking about that for a while now, but we're really starting to see that come to fruition now. Over on the S&P, the same thing, arguably a lot stronger. How's it going, Steven? Good morning. We've got this upward momentum, which, man, where would that even be? Like, geez, oh Pete. Let's go back to a 60-minute, see if it looks a little clearer over here. Man, I guess, right? Initially, it would have started off like, well, wait a minute. Is this wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4? By the way, this would not be an impulse. This would be a 5-wave blow-off in a corrective phase. That's a massive problem, by the way, for bulls. So bulls really want to see this be something like this, ignoring all of this back here. I've got some qualms with that. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of ignoring everything back there, but I guess because it did go into a wedge, you might be able to consider it as all part of one. Then it would be wave 3. But I've got some concerns if it wants to start pulling back a little more. Hey, Terry, how's it going? We'll see what they want to do from there, but ugh. Over on gold, gold has a beautiful continuation back to the downside after its pointy, spiky, kind of consistent behavior that we've seen over the past, well, months now. It's a very, very pointy, sharp market lately, and it seems to be that every time it jerks up, it pauses and then reverses. We more recently just had a jerk up, paused, and reversed, and then that jerk down, paused, and reversed, and finally had a big jerk up, paused, and now reversed, and jerk down, pause, reverse. Now we've got a big jerk down. So likely, we've just got to wait for a little bit of a pause. This move down might not necessarily be done. They can be relatively persistent, right? So we just got to wait for the bottom to get put in. We'll know when the bottom's put in because we'll see it start doing this. And then it'll probably go the other way. It's pretty consistent, given how this thing likes to move. The upward structure would likely want to put support close to where it is now, right around the negative 1.5 DP, and probability really likes that area as well. A lot of bulls looking to kick it up off of that zone specifically being at around 1777. Nice and easy to remember. Lower highs, but we do have a couple of those traps inside there. It's a similar situation to what we were talking about on the euro, except this one worked a lot better. The euro didn't work as nice as this did, but we do have a nice rotation to the downside. I mean, it's doing what it needs to. If we're looking at the overall volume flow to the upside, not these lower highs, but just the inside. This is a 60-minute chart, so put this on minute before it freaks out on me. There we go. And that puts a zone of interest back at 1758.1 that the market, if it is going to pull back, is likely going to want to pull back to. That would be the hot spot. Now, from a bullish interest standpoint, if they were to buy right there on the POC, a 2-to-1 doesn't even fit. Like, that's a horrible spot. So really, they're probably going to be looking, the bulls, talking about the bulls are going to be looking to buy in a little bit sooner. And given that settlement's right there, I would wager to guess that we're going to have a lot of bulls that would want this to dip just a bit further down, something along the lines of 46.7 or so. Now, that's just for a 2-to-1, so let's see where a 3-to-1 would have to be. Man, that was pretty close. Go a couple more ticks down, and that should do it. Ooh, a couple more ticks up. There we go. All right. So that's the hot pocket for the bulls if they can get it going. But if they really want to dig down and get some value, let's see if we can get a 5-to-1 inside here. A little lower. Oh, man. A little lower. That was too much. Right there? That was too much. Those 5-to-1s are so sensitive. All right. I'll just extend the box. That's the hot spot. Over on crude oil, we've got some pretty good I mean, pretty solid bearish momentum off of this move lower, but what the heck? Hang on. No, that's not what it shows. Sorry, my phone's trying to connect to my desktop. Hang on. Stop it. Jeez, oh Pete. Anyway, we've got crude oil trying to roll back to the downside, and obviously all the support on crude oil, that's hanging out down at the lows. We've got all the buyers around the 81s. Lots and lots of buyers hanging around the 81s. The big thing that we really need to see here is, you know, what are they trying to get accomplished here? Is this move down nothing more than shorts who got stuck? Are they exiting? Or is this a re-up for longs to buy into another move back to the upside? Or is this the breakdown point where the sellers finally take back over? You know, there's a lot of ifs and thens and ors and all of that going on here. If we're looking at the overall volume structure, the POC is up at the top. But if we go ahead of that high, let's see if it stayed there. It did. So the POC is staying right up at where where settlement is. That's great. This is the area of interest that the sellers are currently winning off of. They're doing a pretty good job of it too. We'll see what they're able to get going, but right now it seems like the sellers are winning the fight, and if anything, they probably already reached out to like a 5-to-1. Over on the euro, we did end up getting the cycle to the downside, but it did not cycle the way that I wanted it to, or not anywhere near as nicely as I wanted it to. Oh well, it is what it is. One of the big things that ended up happening here, if we look at the overall the cycle that was going on, we were talking yesterday on how I wanted to find a low probability but high reward scenario inside of here, trying to get the rotation back to the downside. But given the way that it was setting up, we were going to take it a little bit lighter because I didn't necessarily trust being the first one to the party. We needed more info. So selling into that bracket zone a little bit, but otherwise letting it kind of do its thing. Until we put in a little bit of a top here, lower high, selling a little bit more, lower high again, equaling the top, selling a little bit more. But at that point, it had gone up so much further than I wanted it to that I just accepted it as a scalp and took everything off at a scalp. So as far as a risk-reward perspective goes, from a first-in, first-out, some of these are going to be first-in, first-out losses. These, let me do the right colors. These would be losses here. And these are the wins. Now, what this doesn't show is the size. These were about twice the size down here. We started off with 3, added 2 more into 5, and then added up to a total of 10. So really, between the two, the scalp distance, that's about all that there was for me, the way that I approached it. Although in hindsight, of course, good old hindsight, it did end up collapsing down the way that we wanted it to. I took it off as a scalp because it didn't look like it was going to happen. Go figure, right? Never fails. So the euro, as it stands, did line up and actionably fell off of the top. But like I was talking about with gold, was it gold or crude? Yeah, gold. This was what I wanted to see happen on the euro. Right? Now, if we look at what actually happened, that's over here. So it rifled up through the highs way further than I wanted it to. Adjust the management, out of the scalp. In hindsight, it's a bummer, but hindsight, there's nothing you can do about that, right? The hindsight accounts is those are in the billions. But in the real world, I can't reverse like that, so unfortunately, we just gotta deal with it. But nice scalp. It is what it is. As long as you can spell socks, you'll be a happy camper. How's it going, Brad? Good morning. Over on Bitcoin, that's not right. Hang on. There we go. It helps if I connect to the data feed first. Bitcoin is going a little bit more sideways, choppy, slopping around. We did have a very nice trap on the base. Immediately responded with bullishness. This is one of two things. We have a pennant formation that's going on after a vindictive trap on the lows. We either see an incredibly strong continuation, which is usually double the distance of the first pulse, or we see a attempt that fails to make a new high. Key note, fails to make a new high, and then likely collapses down to another new low, somewhere along the lines of an equidistant move because they missed the low over here. So this high, very important. They got to get above that. creating a little bit of a pennant formation at the moment. Just a matter to see what they make of it afterward. Not a huge fan of that little poke above the highs. Ooh, that makes me nervous. Over on Ethereum, we've got a continuation back to the upside. A beautiful failure off of the lows. This is very picturesque in comparison to what I was talking about on BAT. A couple days ago, we were talking about a long on BATS, which is if you use the Brave browser, which if you're not using the Brave browser, why aren't you using the Brave browser? You literally get paid to browse the internet. It's ridiculous not to. Plus, it's got Tor built in, whatever. I'm not sponsored by them, but man, Brave, so far this year, just using my internet, I've gotten paid like $12 in BAT and BAT. Anyway, whatever. So BAT token is, or coin, whatever you want to call it, is similar to what happened here, where we've got this avalanche wedge to the downside. The avalanche wedge finally breaks. Ethereum took a little bit longer to get going, but similar response with this really, really strong rally up. The thing that kind of sucks about it is they hit the high and just stopped dead in their tracks. That's not great. That's a little bit of a bummer, in fact. I would really have liked to have seen them carry on through that. That said, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that the market has to fall apart and go collapsing all the way down, because what do we have here? All we have is a double bottom, a couple traps underneath the lows, etc. I mean, the bulls have some really good momentum to try to crack this top. It makes a lot of sense that the buyers are taking profit at the highs, but they've got to keep this going. Same thing here. They got to break above the highs. If they can't do it, there might be some problems. Swap this over to gold, crude, and the euro for the seconds. And starting off on the tick chart, just seeing what's going on internally. We started off the day with it just kind of continued what happened on the previous slide lower. If we look at where the session actually started, it does technically give us a high to work with. That is the session start. So we've got the cycle down, break, first leg down, second leg down, third, fourth. I mean, they kept it going for quite a while. That kind of tells us, you know, is that actually the start of this cycle to the downside? Or, you know, is there something wider going on? Is there a larger perspective at play? And obviously the wider channel does look pretty nice. We've got, it broke it a couple times, but whatever. I mean, it's not the picture-perfect channel either. It's not starting off the lows. So, I mean, as it stands, it fits. And we broke. Realistically, sellers are going to be looking for a continuation back down to the base. So far, though, they're getting stuck. So we have that initial rotation up to the highs, and the seller built their portfolios short around there. Right now, we're back to retest the break-even point, mind you. But if we carry this on forward, do we see? Did they take any profit? Well, obviously, they took some profit down in this dip here. There's a lot of contracts trading hands, but we haven't seen a POC shift. If we drag this all the way further forward, it doesn't shift either. So really, we have a situation that the sellers now likely have a profit target that's already been filled. And if we measure the POC to the stop, not a 3-to-1, so it's probably a 2-to-1. Yep. That's their 2-to-1. So what do? We need a litmus test. Does this show us that we're on the right track? We need to be bloodhounds, right? Are we on the right track? I don't know. You tell me. Is this showing responsiveness off of a target after the sellers realized they couldn't get it? Seems like it. I feel like we're on the right track. These are the types of clues that we're looking for, right? So we know that the shorts took it. We know that they got their 2-to-1 targets filled. And if they didn't get filled initially, they refilled it on the secondary test. Now we're back to break even. Let's use context here. Who's going to defend it? The majority of the shorts already liquidated 80% of their position, 75% of their position, right? It's a 2-to-1. They're probably not holding much, maybe even only 10% left on the position. So if it comes back to break even, let's say as an example, that when it hits break even, they sell half, right? So instead of going in another 10, let's just use 10 as easy numbers. They've got 1 left, and they sell another 1, right? Another 1 contract, just to re-up a little bit. What are they going to be looking for on that 1 contract? A scalp. Where does that scalp place support? Right at the shelf that was already created before. Now, that was after coming 1 tick away from that point already. Chances are, shorts have already hit that. But if we start seeing support at this scalp distance, there's a real possibility that the shorts are starting to run out of steam here. 10 minutes until the open. So re-up sellers are going to be looking for the scalp to the downside. I kind of don't want them to actually get their fills because that would add more fuel to the fire to the upside. Either way, if we look at the S&P, that started off its cycle from the beginning of the day down. Nice break, couple legs to the downside, but for the most part, just creating a range. It's just sort of stuck. The top of it is very gross looking. The bottom doesn't look half bad. Man, that looks awful. I'm going to say that the range high is this. I think this move up and this move up are flukes. I don't think those were intentional. If anything, I'll climb it a little bit further up, but that's about it. I think the range high fits best there. Overall sentiment still obviously to the downside, but if we're looking at this context from yesterday's top down to the low, we've got a POC once again 45.84. So let's measure it up. 3-to-1 targets have been achieved, but let's go backwards, see if we can get some context off the 2-to-1s. Was there a response off the 2-to-1s? Yes. When the market and the sellers realized that they can get a lot more than just 2-to-1, did they re-enter off the 2-to-1? Yes. After they re-entered off the 2-to-1, did it make its way down to the 3-to-1 and find support? Yes. I think we're on the right track. Ding, 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 ding. Got him. So what do we have here, right? We know that the shorts are in. They re-upped. They got their targets. They're pressing down. Where are we now? Well, let's see. Have they made it to a 5-to-1? Not quite. If the market wants to break lower, the next logical point of support isn't going to happen until 45.54, where the next point that the sellers are going to be jumping ship at happens. Now, we're still in a range, but it makes a lot more sense to sell the highs of the range. 68 quarters seems to fit the best point of interest for a range top initially. See what they're able to get out of it. All right. Let's take a look at the most voluminous on the... Ooh. Shiba's popping again, huh? Beautiful dip on that buy, or that dip buy. What were the levels we were talking about in Shiba? Level 1, 67.02. Level 2, 63.91. Level 3, 47.63. I don't think they made it to... They didn't even get underneath the 6,000. So it's just the intermediary, more aggressive buys that got triggered. But even those are doing just fine. Sheesh. Let's see. Where are those at? Sorry, just taking a little bit of a sidetrack here. But yeah, just from that point, it's up at about 7% from that area. Hard to complain. All right, Nasdaq shorts are fulfilling the scalper's objective on the re-up. And as far as the open goes, you've got about 6 minutes right around the corner until that hits. From a swing perspective, you know, we're not really in any major areas per se. I mean, the one that stands out is gold a little bit further down, but you know, again, it's still got a ways to go. The euro juked me, just 100% juked me. That went way further up than I thought it was going to go. Crude oil looks like it might be trying to get that rotation back to the upside, but I mean, really, if the bulls are actually going to take this, they're going to have to get back above settlement. They're going to have to do a lot of work here for a V-bottom to actually take place. And the index markets are just hanging out up in the sky with Shiba. So the most voluminous markets today on Femex: Ethereum, Link, and Mana. Mana. Ethereum, Link. I don't know if Coinbase trades Mana. Can I get a chart of Mana? Hey, I can. Nice. Nice. Let's do that. And it moves. Fantastic. All right, the three most voluminous on Femex today, so far at least, Ethereum, Link, and Mana. Those are going to be the ones of focus. Mana, for obvious reasons. That thing's going freaking crazy. We are seeing supportiveness on the Nasdaq coming off of the scalper's objective. That's a pretty big problem for the shorts. See if we can get a little bit of a dip back down in the 35s, 34s or so. Allow them a chance to possibly even re-exit. What the heck did I do with my drink? 2 seconds, be right back. All right. We are back. S&P catching a little bit of a lift to the upside. Zone of resistance for sellers is going to be to pressure off of the 68 quarters. For the Nasdaq, honestly, a possible long with the shorts getting juked at 35 might even be a little bit more interesting. 928 is around the corner. 928 on a Friday can be a little bit even more dangerous because that is, if you're not familiar, the last chance for people to modify their at the open orders. So 928. It's usually one last little pop of volatility. On the Nasdaq, looking for this little bit of a dip. I think the shorts are looking to potentially exit on this next pulse and seeing the response from the longs coming in there. Well, the shorts exiting, rather. We are dealing with the open, and we've got 928, so there is going to be a little bit of excess volatility. It's a relatively strong bear bar, so to compensate for it, I will look to get into a short on the S&P as a potential hedge. I do also have my shorts a little bit further above, so that's fine, but 65. Let's see if we can get that scalp down to 64 there for the hedge. And as far as the upswing, probably easier if I just use the fib tool. It gives me an idea, at least, of where it's at. One minute until the open, right around the corner. Hey, how's it going, Ace? Target taken on the S&P. And here comes the open. little bit of an extra flush to the downside there. All right. Well, I didn't have a chance to move all my contracts on the Nasdaq. That spiked too fast. I tried to move them up. I tried to modify for the actual risk scalp, but the frickin' thing filled me too quick. Sheesh. All right. Well, we got the pulse back to the upside. I still think the sellers are really feeling some pressure, but that move down retested that target point, right, to the tick. So they're 2-to-1s. If they're looking to get out, that was the spot right there. I still like this for a potential continuation on a larger scale because of that. Back up through this area now. They're short entry. They've got to be exhausted. See if they can pulse through. Ooh, they couldn't pulse through, and when I exited, I got a horrible fill. Yay, volatility, woohoo! A little bit of a dip back to retest. And I will take it there. Holy moly, we got some volatility. Hit the gas pedal. We got this bad boy rocking and rolling today. Sellers so far have gotten nothing aside from the scalp. They've got the to the tick test on the 2-to-1 back down there, which is fueling this momentum to the upside. Nice little bear bar for shorts to try to get underneath on the Nasdaq. I don't believe them. I would rather buy into those shorts because obviously the longs are the ones that are winning the fight. Got bottom bid, got a terrible fill on the second exit, and couldn't get the third contract of the lot. Oh man, this thing is sloppy. Sloppy today. Be careful. The trades are working, but man alive, thank goodness for hotkeys. Thank goodness the hotkeys are working, too. Side note. We have a metric ton of volatility going on right now. How's it going, Ace? I haven't seen you for a while. Hopefully all is well. Retesting the break-even point of the shorts now and immediately seeing responsiveness. That's a huge clue. Do you see how it went back down to that point and found immediate responsiveness? The sellers are getting juked hard right now, and the shorts realize that they're kind of SOL. They're trying to jump ship before this thing pulses through the top. Watch out. Not quite getting the follow-through that I wanted on that. I'm going to jump at break-even on that. That's not the follow-through that I wanted. Yeah. What happened, bulls? Man, the Nasdaq bulls looked like they had it, but then they kind of lost it. Nice little bull bar to try to kick it off again, retesting that break-even point of the shorts. Let's see if they're getting greedy. Maybe they're trying to flush back down to that scalp target. How greedy are they? That's a nice bear bar. Twin reversal off the lows, trying to get a greedy scalper's target. Nope, couldn't get it. See if those shorts can get their scalper's target retest. They're getting pressured. Watching the Nasdaq almost exclusively. Pure fundamentals right now. Shorts are getting greedy and they're starting to pay for that greed. The shorts are likely going to start exiting on that bull bar, although it didn't give me a chance. I wasn't fast enough to actually grab any entry. Piercing above the top, and a quick little pierce back might allow those shorts to re-exit again on this dive, but it already kind of fulfilled the objective of the high. That's what I was looking for. I just missed it. It moved too fast. Starting to dip back down into the area of the earlier longs would be in the 41s, but yeesh, those are some heavy bear bars now. They didn't hit the stops either. I mean, remember, the stops are at 55, let's say. Let's round up and say 55. They didn't get them. Here's the scalper's target. Oh, they're taking profit off the scalper's target. See them bouncing it again? Can they make their way through? Or is there just too much? Retesting scalper's target again. Those greedy buggers. Ethereum mostly sideways. Nasdaq bulls looking for the continuation to the upside. I'm going to keep it on the lighter side because I think they're going to want to try to pressure wash them out a little bit. Yep, there's that pressure wash. Nice little dip for a re-up. The first one's technically going to be a break even, but the second one was a nice little pickup there. It was too obvious. When a setup is that obvious, a lot of times they try to screw people. Nice little flush through the bottom. Not getting the continuation, though. I'm going to eat the loss on that one. No thanks. That's too strong of a bearish move without the response that I wanted. Of course, it popped up afterward, but no thanks. I'm not going to wait for that break even. There's too much of a risk that it falls apart on the Nasdaq. Ooh, okay. Bulls are back in. We're back above the scalper's target again. Uh-oh. Nice little re-up for the longs to retest the scalper's target for the shorts to get out again. All of these are based on the shorts exiting. That's all this is. It's just the shorts exiting. Keep buying into them exiting. That's what all the other buyers are doing, obviously. Eventually, for swings, if that keeps up, we'll see a breakout above the highs. But it appears like the shorts got greedy. They actually were rewarded for their greed. It looked like they weren't going to be. They couldn't break the high. Came back down, got their targets. You're long from 65 quarter. Nice. Nice little flush back on that wick. Shorts know they're screwed. The longs keep on taking it. Ooh, there's the rest of the stops. Ooh-wee. Got him. It's only been 2 minutes after the open. How has it only been 2 minutes after the open? How many trades have I had already? Oh my god. Friday's got some volatility today. Back up the settlement. We're taking out the stops. The greedy shorts got their targets. And they exited on those targets, followed through all the way back up, stopped the rest of them out. What a move. Don't forget banks close at 4 p.m. if you have to take a trip. Gotcha, noted. Same long on the ES. Nice, Steven. Great work. I mean, look at this thing. It just keeps going. The index markets are Energizer bunnies. It's absurd. You know it's been a good day when you can fit the entirety of the morning in one TikTok. Oh, jeez. A TikTok video max, I think, is 3 minutes. Really strong continuation to the upside. The S&P keeps on going. The Nasdaq keeps on going. We did finally get the blow off like we were talking about. If you're building into that position. So I was taking the position as a scalper, right? I don't like holding longs or anything over the weekend. It's not my jam on futures. I'd rather do it on options, ETFs, or something like that. But let's say as an example, you were looking to trade this a little bit differently. And like we were talking about swings, trying to build into those longs and hold. You can optimize this in the exact same way where the longs are coming in. Right? We get the initial targets out. But remember, you're trying to build this in as a swing trader. So if you're building in, assumably you could even build in a couple more times on that. I didn't. But let's just say all of the entries are the same. We took the entries here and there were 2. Exit one of them as a scalp. Don't exit the other, just the one. Comes back, re-enter the one. Exit that one as a scalp. right? Comes back down. These are a couple worse entries. So, I mean, you might have to play ball a little bit differently, but you'd have a couple more re-entries back here. You're maintaining that swing for the eventual move, but you're constantly re-upping for the scalp over and over and over and over again. And that way, if it doesn't work out, the scalp will hopefully have compensated for some of the loss when it does finally turn down if you were wrong. And if it goes up, then you've got yourself a nice run. And a ton of scalps to back it up. Good bullish continuation to the upside. Bulls are maintaining that strength and rallying, ripping above settlement now. Link is kind of hanging out. Mana is pulling back and maintaining a little bit of support, but there's a really big shelf of support at $1.31. $1.31 down to $1.28 seems to be a lot of support down there. Mana's up 45% today. Bat is up 25. I didn't see that. Hold on a second. Holy crap, I didn't see that. I gotta close some positions. Jeez. Last time I looked at it, it was up 6%. All right. God, I didn't know it was up 25. Well, someone's got to warn me here. Jeez. All right. Holy crap! I gotta look around and see what else is going on. Amazon shares are down 5%. Whoops. Wait, Amazon's down 5. Did anybody tell the Nasdaq? Does it know yet? On earnings, huh? What did their earnings come out as? Came out as surprise. Negative 278. Wait, their earnings came... Oh, no, it came... Oh, I was going to say, what? It came out at $6.12. Okay. Whew. The estimate on Amazon earnings was $8.90. Came out at $6.12, so they missed by 31%. That's why it's down that much. It doesn't seem to be impacting the Nasdaq at all. Maybe they just haven't found out yet. Taking profit on the 2-to-1 on the ES at the first 5-minute POC. Nice job. Great work. Ooh, now this little flush back. Watch this flush back on the Nasdaq. This could easily be the sellers trying to get a re-up just to get it to slide. But look how much volume traded at 675. We've got to pay attention to how they want to play ball here. If these are scalpers, we should see a response at the half. Oh man, they shot right through that. Apple's down almost 4% too. Is it really? Jeez. It's like the Nasdaq doesn't even care. It's like, they'll make it back up. It's all good. Leave no man behind, huh? Lots of resistance coming off the 15,675s. Now, looking at this from the perspective of the 5 minutes, not going to help, of what's going on here, right? We already know that the shorts have gotten in, right? Let's look at the context. If you ever find yourself lost and you don't know where you're at and what's going on anymore, a lot of times that means that a story just finished. But get yourself back in the line of context, right? The sellers are going down. They're looking for another leg lower based on this channel. We get a top-weighted POC. The sellers take it down. We see a response at the 2-to-1. We have proof of the response at the 2-to-1 and a reversal back up. They re-challenge the break-evens and come back down to their scalpers entry where they got greedy, re-upped, and tried getting it to go back down again. I bought into that move with the assumption that it was going to roll back up. Buying ahead of the open has its tendencies to be troublesome. Ended up sliding down and to the tick, bouncing off of that scalper's target once again. Or, sorry, the 2-to-1 target once again. Which reinstitutes the bulls back to the upside, allowing that initial scalp, but then re-upping back into it again. The scalper's re-entering, but not getting the follow-through this time. They realize, oh crap, something's wrong. They come back down, they take their final exits off of the scalp, and we have a reversal move back to the upside. So contextually, the shorts are out. They're gone. They're out of the way. So realistically, this POC here then, who is it? was probably just bulls taking profit, right? Let's roll this all the way up to the high. And we can see that the POC of the entirety of the move is back here at 15,645. If there are any straggling shorts who are stuck, they're probably stuck from there. Give or take. And they just got a new high again. No POC change yet, but geez. Here they come. Now, there is going to be a lot of stuck shorts who are going to be liquidating down into this low. So I will be looking for initial longs into this for the assumption, that's a terrible fill if I take that, wow, for the move back up towards settlement, because shorts, again, they know that they're stuck. So taking profit at the range low to try to drive their average up, you've seen me do it a million times. I do it over and over and over again. Remember, they're stuck short from here, but that doesn't mean that they're not building into the move up. They'll sell some here, sell some more here, sell some more here, eat a loss. But by eating a loss, it drives their average up. It's first in, first out. So when it goes back up, they sell more. It drives their average up even more. That's that back and forth scalping taking place. So effectively, I'm looking at this as if I were short, and I'm putting myself in the shoes of those shorts and thinking, like, do I think it's going to go further? Would I take profit here? The next spot, if I were short and I were stuck short looking to take profit, would be down in the 57s to 55s. So that would be the next spot that I would be looking for a bounce back to the upside, although 45 is a lot more appealing. And with these rallies back up towards settlement, seeing some wicks at the top, they cause some concern, you know? So just put yourself in the shoes of a seller who's really, really stuck. If they're averaging up, they're not selling more until we start making new highs. They'll probably start selling a little, yeah, right there, above that last new high. Algos are pretty predictable. See that big wick on the last bull bar? It went above a previous swing. They sell more. They drive their average up. If it goes back down, we'll probably see a bounce back around the 62s. It's a little higher now. If they go up a little bit further, we'll probably see a response in the 80s to 85s. 80s being the previous high closes from back here. 79s, 80s. There's some more responsiveness. So you can see what they're doing. On the other side of things, longs know that the shorts are stuck. So they're allowed to get a little aggressive. Like, when the shorts are stuck, it's pretty easy to tell what they're going to do next. You know? A pulse back down below that previous bull bar, I don't even think they're going to be able to do it, but if they do, that would be a zone where scalpers will probably jump back in because shorts will start exiting there. Remember, they're driving their average up. Back up to the highs, they'll likely sell more up here, pulling their average further. Beautiful continuation phasing today. Today, out of the entire week, and maybe that's just because the rest of the week feels like we got sucker punched in the face. But man, I tell you, today feels like butter. Man, every move. It's almost like it's just kind of back to its normal self, but maybe that's just because it's a fresh install in Ninja and everything's kind of back to the way it's supposed to be running. Maybe it's more me than anything else. Or my computer. I don't know. Either way, today's been really good. 10 minutes until 10 o'clock, top of the hour. We'll see how things are going from there. Nice little pushback. Short selling more above the highs. This shouldn't be a surprise. See if they can get a little bit of a pushback down again. Now, if I were a short and I re-upped into that move, assumably, my average would probably be floating. I mean, I've been there, done that before. I can kind of wager a guess to assume that my average was probably floating around here on these initial exits. These were likely break-evens. So while they're averaging up, their average is probably floating around the 70s or so. So I'm just going to eyeball it, right? Just eyeballing it. But I would assume that if we're looking for a downside scalp target, if they do get a flush down, we're probably going to land somewhere around the 60s. Their break-evens would have been there. That would have been initially a loss, obviously, but that would have shot their break-even up a little bit further. Maybe exited a little bit more on that new low, pushing the break-even a little bit further, selling more up. Might even be a little bit further up. I'm going to say 63.75 or so. In the lower 60s. I don't even think they necessarily have to make a new low. Couldn't get a fill. That's fantastic. Really? All right, there's the Nasdaq. I know. I tried getting a fill on that dip down into that target area, but they wouldn't let me. Nice bear bar on the S&P. That might add a little bit of pressure to the downside. As far as the 5-minute is concerned, they haven't even had a new low, so. That's really frustrating on the Nasdaq. I missed that long off of the base because I didn't get a fill. Well, that was another nice little opportunity there. Nasdaq's at its 50%. Okay. Oof. S&P at 74. Go a little lower, 73.5. See if you can get a little bit of a dip underneath that last low. They have some candle gapping from the close to open, so, I mean, they might have a little bit of excess in there. Shiba almost looks like it's ready for another pulse to the upside. Mana is back in the support zone right now, but they're not finding any support. It's all bear bars, closing on their lows. That's not good. The high on Shiba was 8,490, but it depends on the exchange that you're looking at. It was over 8,000. I have my meme in wait, just waiting for Shiba. It's over 9,000. It's almost there. Couldn't get the dip on the S&P. It missed it by a little bit. That's unfortunate. That entry on the Nasdaq was also just some icing on the cake, but I didn't get a fill. Bummer. Shiba's starting to pressure. If they get above that most recent, what would be a flag then, if it broke above a new high, that could cause some serious rallying, like another back up to all-time highs, and then who knows? Shiba to a penny! Turn 20 bucks into 2,000. Let's go. Wouldn't a new all-time high screw the most amount of people? That's honestly, I love that you're asking that, because that's one of the first things that I love looking for. Where's the most vindictive place? The most vindictive place, if we were looking at Shiba, realistically on the, I mean, jeez, oh Pete. I honestly, I think a lot of bulls are probably trying to gobble up into this move. Let's go across all the way in here. There's still no POC shift, but it looks like the majority of the balance is building around 6,700s. We can see where that would be, right around there. And it's building up into that point and then dries up underneath. So realistically, what would be more vindictive if the market were to go running higher or going lower. I think a lot of permabulls are in this still, and I think a lot of permabulls probably took profit, and there's some FOMO for sure, because a lot of people, myself included, likely took profit back here, because at that point that was like a 200% ROI. When it starts breaking above and going into the 4,000s, 5,000s, 7,000s, 8,000s, you know, that's one of those scenarios that's going to cause a lot of FOMOs if they exited, and that's likely what some of these dips are. So what would screw the most amount of people piercing this low? A lot of buyers probably bought into this dip, and they're looking for a place to put their stop. What better place, right? Underneath the swing? Now, if you've been watching me for long enough, you know that that's a terrible spot, but a lot of people will put their stops there. That would be nice in terms of like pure vindictive markets. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Shiba tends to be a powerhouse when the crowd shows up, but what's the candle gap target for the S&P right now? With that last rally to the upside, we've got a candle gap on bar 1 to 3. That leaves an upside objective at 45.8675. Right there. And there aren't any more candle gaps. That's the only one. On the 5-minute for the Nasdaq, oh, that gap is still open. They didn't close it. It's a little bit further up at 704. All right, we got 10 o'clock right around the corner, so feel free to get those questions in. We'll get those covered for you as you go into training time, and then we will we'll rock and roll into the extended session and finish up the week. All things considered for the week, even though it's been an absolute pain of a week, let's see where the numbers all landed. What the heck? Oh, there's yeah, the euro is going to screw the whole thing up, isn't it? It is the euro, too. Okay, well, the euro was a winning trade, but it screws with the numbers, so I've got to take it off the numbers, which is definitely going to impact things. Maybe I'll just do the euro in and of itself, but all right, well, let's see here. 1025 to the 29th. There we go. All right, so as far as the week is concerned, let's see here. Yeah, that's totally what I want to do. Resize the calculator. It's perfect. 65.33 minus the 100. So wrong 34.67% of the time with an average loss of 10. And 65.33% accuracy on an average win of 12. Minus 346.7 is 437.26. So from a ratio perspective, an average moderate to halfway decent week is in the 600s. 437 is a little bit on the low side. Considering how this week went, with Monday basically not being able to trust it because of the hotkeys, reinstalling into Tuesday not exactly being the smoothest thing in the world. I mean, this whole week has been a bit of a mess. That's not too bad. You know, I'll take it. Again, the numbers are messed up because gold is on here, so this looks totally out of whack. That's 195 and 39, but the way that it ticks is different, so it looks insane on the short side. Those numbers aren't correct. But overall, you know, not bad. If we're looking at the inclusion of the euro, noting that the numbers, or I'm sorry, with the exclusion of gold, knowing that it messes up the numbers a little bit, if we do all of them. You can see why I don't like including the the euro in the calculations. It's like, oh, my biggest loss was 390,000 ticks, huh? Okay. All right, cool, man. I don't remember losing everything I ever owned, but you know, hey, cool. That's So I don't include the euro in the calculations because it screws things up. But gold doesn't help either. Either way, overall, making the week work, just not an easy week by any means. I'll take it. Good enough. SOCKS. Yeah, I know. NinjaTrader, when you're combining different ticks, because gold ticks in 0.1, not 0.1 or 0.0, right? The index markets tick in quarters. But the euro ticks in 0.0001. You know, so it's like, whoa, wait a minute, what? It has no idea what it's doing. So if you want those numbers, just do the euro by itself. If you just want gold, just do gold by itself. It's easier that way. The indexes, luckily, both the Nasdaq and the S&P tick in quarters, so the numbers aren't weird, which is helpful. But the volatility will make the numbers seem weird because the Nasdaq moves 7 bajillion ticks and the Nasdaq moves 20, you know. That might skew things a little bit. Anyway, we are after 10 o'clock, so that's going to do it for the week on the free side of YouTube. We're going to jump over to the extended side for VIPs and members. Feel free to get questions and all of that over there if you've got them. More detailed ones, we'll get those covered. Otherwise, though, it's been a fantastic day of trading, ending out the week in a really, really good way. Definitely like going into the weekend a happy camper. Just frustrating the rest of the week. That's all good. Positive numbers are positive numbers, whether it was a fist fight to get there or not. I guess it's good enough. Anyway, like I said, that'll do it. If I miss any questions on the YouTube side, feel free to shoot me an email or comments below, and we'll get those covered for you from there. Hopefully you have a fantastic weekend. For those of you who are going to be continuing to hang out into the extended session, just listen to me babble to myself for a second. I'll get the links posted in Discord, and we'll rock and roll over there, right? Enjoy, rest up, have a great weekend, and we will see the rest of you all back on Monday, right? Talk to you all later. Thanks.